Hello, this is Amy from Sunday Girl Jewelry. We're in my studio today so I can show you how to do this simple head pin wire wrap. So I'm going to turn the camera around so that you can see my tools and see what I'm doing, and we can get started. So the first thing that you need are the correct tools for this tutorial. And if you don't know exactly what to get, just go to sundaygirl.com and click events at the top of the page. That'll take you to what's normally my events workshop page. And what's there now are a bunch of links to some tools that are affordable, totally work for beginner, that you can order on Amazon right now. So I'm going to go through those right now. So the first thing for this wire wrap technique we're going to use is this, which is a round nose plier. And you can see, kind of look straight down at it, that it is rounded into a point like that. And that's going to allow us to make a little loop just like that. So you definitely need this. The one that I suggested is very similar to this one. I also have a slightly larger one. You can kind of see them next to each other. It's a little longer, it's a little thicker. They both work. I like this little one because I usually do kind of little tiny wraps. So that's kind of the one I recommend, at least for this. Then you need a pair of cutters. These are real basic, but they are for jewelry because they have kind of a very small, pointy little end as well, so you can really get in there. One of the things you're going to have to do is cut off that little piece of wire right there. So you need these little tiny ones that'll get in there like that. And then you're going to want a pair of chain nose, is what they're called, or needle nose pliers. Be sure that they are something for jewelry. A lot of other pliers are going to have little grooves in here, and that'll like mar your wire. You want them nice and flat and smooth like this. Okay, so then the other thing as far as materials go are head pins. Now this tutorial is a head pin wire wrap tutorial, so like I showed you before, it's this. So you got a stone, you're going to stick the head pin up through it and make the wrap on top. And here's a couple of little examples of things that have it. Earring, just a little wire wrap on the bottom, a little cluster. We just went through all of them and then made a little wire wrap at the top. These guys over here have 3, and they're wrapped directly onto the piece like that. What I'm going to show you first is just how to do the wrap, and then it would be like, let's say you had something like this. This would be something that you can put, that's my neighbor's dog. This is something you can put on directly onto a chain, just the way it is. Okay, so there is also a link to these little head pins. I like these ones with a little ball. It's just kind of a nice little decorative element. You can get them flat, and that just looks like a pin. It just has a flat head like a pin. Then the other thing that I actually put on my website is wire, because when you're practicing, the head pins, depending on where you buy them, if they're brass or gold plate brass or non-tarnished brass, they shouldn't be too expensive. But the wire is even cheaper, and you can practice with it. These are about 22 gauge. They go by gauges. I believe this is probably 22 gauge as well. As the numbers go down, the width actually gets bigger. So a 20 gauge, for instance, is going to be actually thicker than a 26 gauge or 24 gauge or something like that. For this kind of bead, 22 to 24 gauge is probably good. You don't want it so thick it gets harder, gets it gets less bendy, it gets harder to, use. It won't go through smaller holes, so you don't want it to get too big unless you're wire wrapping something really big, which then that was the other thing I wanted to just talk about real quick. Like, this bead has a hole that's way too big for these. That's not going to work. So you need something, gemstones tend to have a smaller hole. Now, when they get smaller, the hole will also get smaller, so, you could have trouble getting it through a hole in a really tiny piece, and then you're going to have to use a smaller gauge head pin or wire. But we're going to start by putting the head pin into the bottom of the stone, just like this. And now we're going to start the important part. So we're going to hold onto it with our round nose pliers. These are the round nose pliers. Now you can kind of see, like right here where I'm holding it, there's actually a mark, because this is where I do my wire wrapping from on almost everything. When you hold it, make sure you put it all the way down so that the stone is all the way down to the bottom here. You don't want a bunch of space. You don't want it moving around. Like, don't put it up here and then end up with, this kind of doing this. You want it nice and tight. So down here. And if you, like I said, mine kind of has a marking from where I do it, but if you kind of want to do a bunch of them and have them turn out the same, you could take a Sharpie and just mark where you want to do it. And then when you bend it right at that point. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, you're holding onto it, bend it directly towards you like this. See that from the side? That's what you got. Then you're going to rotate your pliers up toward you. So they started like this. They're going to go up like this. Okay. And then you're going to make your loop. That's when you make your loop, just like that. And then you're going to rotate up here and pull it through. So you rotate it around and that's what you've got. Almost a whole loop. I'm going to put it back in there. Start from there. But then you obviously, that's in your way, so you're going to have trouble bringing it all the way around. So then you need to rotate them forward a little bit. Hang on to it lightly, because you don't really want to bend or put a little mark in your wire. And you want to bring it forward like so. So now, and if you can also give it a little tug with another pair of pliers if you want. So, like that. Okay. Now you have your loop. Nice little loop. If you're not totally happy with the shape, or you need it to be a little bigger, you can pop your round nose pliers in there and open it up a little bit, like so. And now you're going to want to switch to the flat nose, because what you're going to do, whoa, just bumped my camera, is hold on to them like this, nice and snug, like too close to the phone. And you want to use these flat ones, because if you use these, you're going to be putting little, divots into your wire. So the nice, hold it flat like that, and then you can use the round nose to grab the end. So what you're going to do is grab the end and wrap it once around and towards you. So you're going to do one wrap, nice and tight, up as close to this as you can, and then you can grab it again. Maybe I can grab it again and do it another time. Pull it around just like that. And honestly, that is enough to hold it. That's like 2.5 wraps. So that's basically what you're after, is that right there. Now you need to cut off this little end here and tuck it in. So we're going to cut that as close as we can. These are not my sharp ones, obviously. But this is why you want these nice pointy ones. I think these are my old ones. I don't know where the newer ones are, but anyway. When they're brand new, they're nice. You get in there and you just wink. And then you can kind of just push that in a little bit to kind of get it all nice and neat. And that is it. So now you can put this, turn it to the side if you want. You can totally run a chain through there, put it on a necklace. You can do this with